Hello, guys, and welcome to the second episode of the Scrap Time Show. I am joined by the co-host, the two-time multi-FPS game battles champion, Ovexels, aka Harry. How are you doing today, Harry?
Yeah, good man. What about you?
Doing fantastic. Crazy weekend that just went by, as we know with the major two. So a lot to talk about, and yeah, we got to get right into it. Shout out to everyone, guys, who's joining us live on the Twitch stream over at twitch.tv/Declan, and thanks to everyone who's up watching this on YouTube as well, guys. We're going to get it up on more audio platforms as well throughout the next coming weeks, hopefully in time for the next show, so you guys can have like an easy way of listening to the show at all times. So yeah, we're going to get into it right away. We're going to kind of look into the bracket first, then do a tier list, then talk about a couple of different topics that came up over the weekend. And yeah, Harry, you all good to go? Ready to go?
Yeah, let's go, bro.
All right, sweet. So let's switch on over to our VOD screen here so we can pull up the fantastic bracket. All right, 2 seconds. Beautiful stuff. So as you can see here, we have the bracket pulled up. That just went by in the major. I'm not sure if you guys can hear my cat. The cat's going absolutely rogue. So yeah, going into it. I mean, it was just a crazy weekend, Harry, wasn't it? I mean, just upset after upset. I mean, the first one that we can see here on the screen, obviously, is OpTic and Surge. Trio Surge. OpTic without a single reply.
Yeah, I was not expecting that. I mean, I don't think anyone was, to be honest. Surge coming out straight away with a bow cage and, you know, looking crazy, actually. Just with Pred and Sib on the attack, just getting slays after slays after slays, just completely outgunning Shotzi and that.
Yeah, I mean
we'll talk a bit more in the show about the veto and, you know, the drama around that. But yeah, I don't think they played nowhere near the best performance. So
no, and this is where all the drama with the vetoes came in. I'm not sure if you saw Rambo Ray's stream the other day, but that Bokage hardpoint map that Ray decided to go with, and the Opt team didn't want to play. They apparently they went all backstage after when they lost Trio. There was a big fight between the players and Rambo and Sender on like the map picks, because the players didn't want to play Bokage. They wanted to play a different map. And there's a big thing about that. So maybe that was like made the players lose full map one.
I mean, last time they played Surge, they played Bokage and they did lose.
Yeah, exactly.
They got outslayed again.
I mean,
so
I think Rambo's decision. He came out and said they lost by 50 points, got outslayed by 30 plus. So he said that if they just got the kills together, they would have won. But I feel like you can't just go off that. I mean, it was just kind of a weird thing you wouldn't expect to happen from someone like Ray, like all the benefits he's had for the team, you know?
I know, yeah, there were so many different options they could have chosen, and I don't think it was the best one. But they learn from it, don't they? They'll move on.
Exactly, yeah, they use it as a learning point.
Yeah, it was a disappointing major for OpTic, but moving forward, I can see them, you know, progressing and learning from this and just working on what they did wrong. Look, they've got a load of VODs they can look back on. So, you know, I'm not worried about them. I think it's just a bit of an off period, and then they're gonna go back at it next season.
Yeah, 100%. And then when we go to the next match in the winners matches, we see Subliners and FaZe, and again another trio. Subliners not really with an answer in this one, but to be fair, I thought they kept a couple of the maps close, 100%. Like they didn't get absolutely blown out.
No, they didn't. No,
they didn't. But again, there was no world in which they were ever going to beat FaZe again, which is kind of something you have to say. But it was just FaZe being FaZe. I mean, they just brought everything together. They came out strong, like heavy hitting. I don't think just the rosters match up when FaZe are playing like that. I just don't think New York have the roster.
I know. Well, you'll see when we do the tier list later on. But what I think about FaZe, we had Subliners, you know, making the upset in 3-2 on this, didn't we?
Yeah.
I was actually frustrated to not see that happen, because I really wanted to see Subliners do well, but it is what it is. 3-0. FaZe were looking great.
They just came out like FaZe. I mean, we were just hoping that they wouldn't come out like FaZe and New York would turn up, but when they come out like FaZe, it just
exactly.
There's not much. Yeah, I don't think there's too much more to talk about. I think if you're a New York fan, you should be pretty happy with this. They lost Trio, but like the difference in the roster from a month ago to now is night and day. So, I mean, it's
Yeah.
still. I mean, we'll see in the future in this tournament. They didn't go much further than this, but there's still some positive signs we can get into in their losers match. And then we have Mutineers and Royal Ravens in the next one. And again, I mean, it was just trio after trio at the start of this
Another
tournament.
big upset. Another big upset.
Another one. I mean, God, Mutineers had a fantastic tournament. They ended up finishing top 4, and what a way to kick it off, going trio against the Ravens, a top 3 team in the game.
Yeah, I know Ravens again looking disappointing. I really had Ravens and OpTic, taking Mutineers and Surge, but is what it is. Mutineers were looking great all weekend. They took down OpTic later on in the tourney, but
Yeah.
it's just unpredictable in my opinion. I really did not predict that Raven was gonna even get 3-0'd, maybe even map 5. Yeah, but
Something just seemed to be ever since the whole Gizmo thing happened. Something with the team just seems to have not, like, they just seem to have lost their momentum since they had to not, like, since they couldn't play with him for a couple of weeks. They just seem to have lost their momentum. And I think Zero got sick this weekend. I saw his tweets. Apparently he got sick and wasn't feeling himself. So maybe that played a part here, because I mean, if you asked 100 people the score, and even if they're Mutineers fans, I don't think they're predicting the trio on this.
100%. No one was predicting that 3-0.
No, I mean, it was.
No one.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just a horrible way if you're the Ravens team to start the tournament off, like getting just punched in the mouth, basically. Trio. I mean, yeah, it was just tough for them. It was just tough.
I mean, going into the tournament, they were looking so good. Like they were 4-1 in the Major 2 qualifiers. The only person they lost to was FaZe, which is arguably one of the best teams in the game.
Their strength of schedule wasn't too hard, I believe. I'm not 100% sure they played. Now, they did lose to FaZe, of course. That was their toughest match, but I don't know how hard their strength of schedule was. But anyway, I mean, we can talk more about Ravens. I think we should move on to the next one. Another day one, it was just trio after trio after trio. They were really respecting the EU sleep schedule here.
They really did.
They really did respect it. Yeah, Breach and Guerrillas trio. I mean, we all know what happened to Guerrillas as the tournament went on. But Breach came out strong, came out swinging, made this Guerrillas team look silly, basically. I mean, a couple of maps were close, I believe, but Breach just did their thing, came out, did what everyone expected them to do, and Zinni absolutely dropping his balls on all the other teams. I mean, he has like a 1.3 KD or something for the stage, something in there.
Yeah, I'm just looking now. It's just loading up. I'm pretty sure he had.
Yeah, if you have the link to that stat, actually, I'll put it up for the people watching on stream and on YouTube.
Yeah, give me a second.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, so he had a 1.27 overall in Major 2.
1.27. I mean, sorry for the coughing. That is absolutely crazy. I mean, that's
the only person that beat him is Dashi at 1.3. So
yeah,
that's how close it was.
And he played more maps.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
So I mean, that's more impressive. But yeah, basically, what we expected in this match. Breach came out strong, did their thing, put Guerrillas down. But again, this match for Guerrillas was huge, because starting winners. Imagine if they started as losers. This whole Cinderella story, which we'll get into, would never have happened. They got some experience on the main stage. I'm sure it was huge for Spark. I'm sure it was huge for their just their momentum in total, like get together like as a team, kind of get used to the vibes on the stage, and getting 3-0'd maybe actually suited them. Maybe it kind of lit a fire and was like, let's not go out 0-6 like without winning a single map. So
yeah,
I think I'm actually in hindsight it might have worked out better for them.
Yeah, I think they needed that that knocking down. If they came out of there I don't know, winning, and then you never know, they might have beaten Mutineers and then onto FaZe. They might not have had the same ambition and kickstart that they needed to get that momentum and to get that, well, in the end, the win. So
for sure, yeah. And
I think Breach did well. Breach did well to do the 3-0.
They did. They came out strong. They did their thing. I mean, they're a hot and cold team, and they just came out hot to start with, and it's just hard to beat a Breach team unless you're one of the top teams of the game like that. So yeah. And anyway, 100%. Moving on to the losers bracket, I think we'll go through these first round matchups a little quicker. I mean, the OpTic Rocker game. I mean, it was probably the first time I've ever seen a tournament, bar like one of the London events, where the crowd were like booing OpTic and actually supporting another team more. It was pretty incredible. I mean, the Rockers fan base. I mean, just shout out to the fan base for Rocker. It's just incredible. Oh. There were so many of them there.
I was so surprised, especially with that OpTic game, because you've got OpTic fans everywhere, don't you? But just to see the support that Rocket had, unfortunately they did lose, but just to see the support from the fans was crazy.
I mean, imagine if they
Especially against
imagine
OpTic.
if they had won. It was
I
just
know,
a shame.
exactly,
It
yeah.
was just a shame they didn't get into winners bracket. I mean, there's not much to talk about the series itself. OpTic, you know, they did lose a map, but I mean, it was pretty easy. This Rocker team, something has to change. I mean, we can get into that.
Yeah.
A player has to go somewhere, whether that be Major Maniac or maybe, I don't even know who you drop, Major Maniac, Priesta, someone like that. I mean, just something has to change, because when we get into our tier list, I'm gonna have these guys way down there. Like,
yeah, no, I agree. I don't think you see Attach going. I don't think you see Major Maniac going. I think it's got to be Priester.
which is just
In
so
my opinion.
crazy to say.
I know, but it's just who else do you get rid of? I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. That's true.
But anyway, going into this next series, this was the exciting series. This was a good watch.
This was a troll. This was a New York troll. This is what it was.
No, it really was. But it was just
Ugh.
like two of, at the minute, some of the worst teams battling out. It was the first series to go all the way. So it was a good watch.
Yeah, I mean,
Unfortunate for subliners, but LA clutched up and got the SND.
it is what it is. I mean, I have no words. I mean, if you're a New York fan, like, don't despair. I mean, there's a lot of promise in your team. I mean, it's so much better than it was, but it's just, I just don't know what's happened to them.
They've got a lot of work to do. If they do carry on with that roster, they've got a lot of work to do. I do believe they can do it though. I do believe they can. They just need to, I mean, they didn't have loads of time to scrim.
No, they didn't, and maybe they're
to
just
get familiar with
lacking.
the team.
They're just lacking a bit of that resolve to close out series because they need more time together as a team, kind of thing. I'm just trying to see if I can pull up real quick, because yeah, so it's right here. You guys should be able to see this. The maps that they played: Berlin, Desert Siege, Tuscan. I just don't know how New York allowed 3 Tuscans to get in. I mean, I don't know. I feel like 3 Tuscans in a row. I mean, sure, New York are probably good on Tuscan, but I just feel like 3 Tuscans in a row is like a lot to bank on one map going your way,
Yeah, no,
and it's such an easy way for a reverse sweep to happen, because once you get rolling on a map, you literally in your head, okay, we have all the same maps.
Exactly.
Just run it back.
If you've got 3 Tuscans and you do well on the third, it's just a steamroll. You just got the momentum and you know what you're doing. You're on the same map. So they did put themselves in a vulnerable position, but it is what it. Unfortunately, they couldn't close it out. I was rooting for subliners.
So was I. Yeah, I mean, but again,
happens,
it was big for the Thieves team just to get a bit of resolve for themselves. But again, not everyone can win. Someone has to lose. So it is
Exactly.
it is what it is. The next one now, we're not going to talk about this one. Royal Ravens, Legion. Ravens won. They should never lose this series. Legion are fucking god awful. Now, props, they've made some changes here and there to try and make themselves a bit more competitive, which they are. But again, without Temp, this team is.
It might as well be a challengers team.
I mean, yeah, without Temp, they might as well be a challengers team. I think Temp might even get off this roster and get onto a better one. But again, not much to talk about. They're going to be in the D tier in the tier list.
I mean, in my opinion, Legion shouldn't even got one map.
No,
Ravens slipped up by even giving them one map.
Temp always gets a map. You know how it is.
He carries his team to at least one map.
Yeah, and then the last series here. This is the Guerrillas start of the Cinderella story. The beginning of the end for the rest of the teams in Major 2. 3-1 Guerrillas. Ultra gets shut down again. Ultra, a team desperately in need of a change, in my opinion. All the players on that roster are incredible, but this game, it just doesn't suit them. I don't know who you get rid of. A lot of people, I've heard people say Cammy. I know there's been a tweet recently where Cammy said, tweeting out like better days ahead. Similar.
I was literally about to mention that.
Yeah. Similar to Zinni's tweet back in Cold War when he got dropped from Ultra, but I don't know. I wouldn't get rid of Cammy. I'd get rid of Insight all day.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to disagree there. I think Insight is the better player.
No disrespect to Jamie, like Insight, but all he does is has some S&D moments, and they're like just little flashy clips. He in respawn, he's just, I don't know. Have you say your piece, Harry? What do you think? Say your
No, I
piece.
just think overall, over the last couple of years, not just off this year, over the last couple of years for the long term, um, of Ultra as well, I think he's the better player. Um, in replace of Kami, I think you have to look at some challengers players. Maybe you know, what's his name, Higgsy from
I mean, yeah, he's just a sub player,
the
but like,
Ultra.
what I think they should do, because Insight has the lowest. I'm pretty sure he has the lowest engagements in the entire league, like
Mm,
on each map. Get rid of him. Move Cammy to the main AR. Like Dashi's a main AR this year. Attach is doing it. People like Scump are great with the AR. The automation is like not your typical AR, and this game doesn't play like a typical AR game. So put someone like Cammy, who's a little faster, still slow but faster than Insight, on the main AR, and then put in Hixie, and just
yeah,
speed your team up. I mean, Hixie, at least one of those players, Hixie or Bance, I doubt Kleenex, Hixie or Banks could pull out an extra AR if they need to. I mean, that's what
yeah,
I would do. But again, I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe Cammy is the player you get rid of. But
yeah. Just looking at James's comment in the chat, the only person getting dropped is Bance, but that's never happening. So yeah, maybe you never know. Toronto might keep the squad.
I mean, Bance has been their best player.
Yeah, I know. James is he's tripping there a bit, but maybe they do. Maybe they stay together. Maybe they just don't make any changes and then just ride it
Maybe
out and
maybe they'll
and
just chalk the year up, like accept that they won't win
yeah,
anything. Maybe just
maybe.
hope to get lucky. But yeah, really quick, while we're just shouting out everyone in the chat. Shout out to True F Car, Sean, James, all you guys coming in. Appreciate you guys vibing
Yeah,
in
what's
the
up,
chat,
guys?
boys. Appreciate you guys chilling. If you have any
Yeah, if you do have
opinions, let us
questions,
know. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
100%, 100%. Anyone watching on YouTube, if you ever want to give opinions during, we'll shout out some of the stuff as we go. But now we're on to round two, our top 8 teams. The first matchup we have on top of our screen is FaZe and Surge. Surge, I believe they beat FaZe in a bulk hardpoint this time around, if I'm not wrong.
yeah,
I think they did. So they kind of came out and showed that they're at least top 2, if not best, bulk team in the game. And FaZe just clutched up game 5 ice. Lamar
yeah,
couldn't come in as the ice master this game, but it was a great second game for Surge, beating OpTic in such convincing fashion, showing that they can go toe to toe with FaZe. It was a loss for Surge, but in my opinion, it's like the best of the worst situation for them. They lost, but in the best way they could have lost. If that makes sense.
I think Surge did, despite the fact they lost to FaZe. I think they did really well this tournament. I think they showed that they've still got, the slaying power. They've still got that, that team chemistry. Showing that they are one of the best teams on both gauge hardpoint. That is such a big thing for a team at the minute. Because if they put both gauge hardpoint first map, it's like a guaranteed win pretty much. And that's
100%.
one map to them.
And it's gonna be and they can predict other teams banning it against them, so they can almost predict the other team's vetoes.
Exactly, yeah. Yes,
So
I think they're in a very, very
It's
strong
huge.
position.
Yeah. But yeah, FaZe they did their thing. They clutched up. Good signs for FaZe fans that your team's clutching up and everything like that. Again, Surge, positive signs. I mean, if you think about it, dropping down to the losers, if you're a Surge fan, I mean, it didn't happen in the end, but you were like, if we can get through the losers bracket, we know we can go toe to toe to FaZe, and anything can happen in a best of 9. So for a lot of people, I think they were looking down on Surge going into this tournament, and we'll see. They did go out in top 6 eventually, but we'll touch on them when they go out. They did have a decent showing, and then moving on to Mutineers and Breach.
Yeah.
Breach coming out on top again. Zinni absolutely doing the business again this series, as expected. His teammates Cap, Nero, and Tej turning up when they need to, and they just come up clutch game 5. They've always been a very good S&D team.
Yeah, they have.
Breach have.
Zinni is just different at the minute. He's just frying. No one can stop the guy. He's just got different
but
levels.
the only worries is what happens when he stops frying, because no one. Maybe he can keep frying, but I don't think he's going to be a 1.3 the whole year, is he? Maybe he could be.
I'm just looking in the Major 2 tournament. So he had a 1.27. The next player from his team is Capsule. He had a 1 KD, and then after that,
Okay.
there's no his teammate. So TJ's 0.89. So that just shows how far away his teammates are in the slaying department.
Yeah,
compared to him.
let me just pull that up real quick. I think I have that right here too. Really quickly, 2 seconds now. Yes, I have that right here as well. So, I mean, Capsule, you're happy to be at a 1, and again, I mean, to be fair, overall the stats aren't bad. I mean, you don't expect Nero to have over a 1. He's very inconsistent. Sometimes he can drop a 1.3. Other times he can drop a, like a a point 0.7. So I think
That's the thing.
overall you wouldn't be too upset with their stats, but they are just really relying on Zinni to do his thing.
Yeah, but then if Zinni keeps on frying, then they're in a good place. It's just being dependent on that one player. It's something you can't really do. But we'll see how they progress it in the year. At the minute, they are looking really good. They are looking like a top team, in my opinion.
And people agreeing in the chat fields back at everyone saying that he's disgusting. I mean, in my opinion, he's at least a top 3 AR. I don't think I could put him first or second, but he's 100% the third best.
Yeah, he's definitely a top 3. I'm not sure where he is in that top 3. Definitely not 1. I mean, by my opinion, Dashi is number 1 at the minute.
And
definitely in that top 3.
And Sean, we'll get into the Volk later. We actually have a segment at the end of the show on the Volk, so stay tuned for that. We have a whole thing coming in. So then the losers, going into losers round 2, OpTic and Thieves, always a good matchup. Maybe not as much this time around. Well, it was, but going into it, people wouldn't have said so because Thieves have been shitting the sheets as of late. It ends up being a 3-2 in the end. OpTic clutch up, throwing away a couple of maps, I think, here and there. But I think watching it, I was never too worried for OpTic. They went down 0-1. Which did get people worried initially, but then once they won that S&D, I feel like they just kind of got their feet back in the series like they normally do if they can get a map under their belts early on. So
yeah. I was a bit disappointed with OpTic's performance, to be honest. With how they should be playing, that should be a 3-0 in my opinion.
Yeah, on current form, they shouldn't lose 2 maps to Thieves, 100%.
Exactly, that should be an easy 3-0. Giving 2 maps away, especially the hard point as well. I just think they shouldn't be doing it. It shouldn't be happening. It should be a 3-0. But
yeah, maybe showing that OpTic just weren't themselves. I mean, this major.
Yeah, I don't think they were. I don't know what happened. Maybe they lost full off the first, surge loss with the drama with Rambo Ray and the vetoes.
And Illy didn't come to play this tournament. I didn't want to touch on that too much, but compared to Major 1 and this major, it was night and day. I mean, I think for this OpTic squad to be the S tier team, we all saw them up until this weekend. You can't have Illy dropping 0.7s, 0.8s. You need him at like a 0.9 to like a 1, and you're happy.
There, 0.86. It was his average KD throughout the whole tournament.
0.86. Yeah, it just won't cut it. Like 0.9 would be the worst. You would be kind of.
And it's those clutch moments as well, like those 1v2s or 1v3s. You need players to be making those clutch plays. If they don't, then like they have, they've fallen.
Yeah, but
we'll move on to the other matches. But just going ahead, the Mutineers game again, it was disappointing performance by them. But obviously, we'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about it in a second. Yeah, but again, if you're a Thieves fan, you can't be too happy with that major. Something has to change. I don't think they're making a roster change. Honestly, they might. But I'm not. I honestly don't know. It feels like so tight knit on the team, as if like none of them would rat the other person out. But then Nadeshot and whoever else might just say fuck this. We have to change something up. But I'm really torn on whether they will make a roster change or not. If they do, I think it needs to be either Octane or Kenny. But
I see it as a friendship team at the minute. I really do see it as a friendship team at the minute. Nadeshot's got he's got his guys and he's got J-Cap. People are saying that J-Cap needs to go. He made that video saying that he shouldn't go. It's not J-Cap's fault. He's had obviously a load of experience in the comp scene. He thinks he's not the problem. So I think it's another one of those situations where they're just gonna keep the players, keep the coach, and just see how they get on throughout the year.
But again, looking at it though, I just brought up the CDL point standings on the screen right now. If you look at it, I mean, they gotta step it up quickly. Like they could be in danger of missing champs. They're on 70 points right now. The team number 9, Ultra, who would be the kind of gatekeeping team, I guess, for bottom 4, if that's probably the wrong way to say it. But they're only 10 points behind that. So if any of these bottom teams step it up, they could be in hot water for champs. And I mean, that not making champs as LA Thieves is just disgraceful. So something has to has to happen if they
if they don't make champs, then Nadeshot needs to sort himself out because that
Yeah, and he's well
That would
capable
be
of doing that.
disappointing.
We've seen him blow rosters up before and other esports and stuff. So
Yeah,
there could
I
be
mean,
something to happen there.
with all the potential, all the the talent in the Challengers League, and there's so many people. I mean, I'm not saying they could perform like they are now in the actual pro league, but I don't know.
I mean,
I
we'll
think
see.
I think
We'll see in the pro-am coming up in a few weeks.
exactly. Yeah, I can't
I
wait
mean,
for that. I can't wait for that.
some great teams in there. A lot of European players. I mean, a lot of good teams in general. So that'll be interesting. I think some of these pro teams are going to get shocked. So there's definitely a lot of talent down there. Moving on to Guerrillas Royal Ravens, and this is really where Guerrillas start to catch fire. I reckon, Harry, here, round 2, trio to the Ravens, a top 3 team. I mean, you could see it when they won this game. If you remember back to it, I mean, they were all just so every map after map, they were just getting so fucking hyped, getting so into it. This is where like their S&D run really starts to kick in, and this team just started clicking, and I think no one expected it. And I think people were putting it off to Ravens' bad form, which it could have been, but it proved out throughout the tournament that this Guerrillas team was kind of something different. But again, they did trio Ravens, and the rest of their series were quite close, which we'll get into looking at. But I mean, Ravens, I just think they're not themselves. I think they should be winning at least a couple of maps against this Guerrillas team, despite them winning the event, if not even beating them. So
Yeah, I think it was a bit of both. I think it was a elevated performance by Guerrillas. I think they were looking, really good this weekend. But also, a bad performance by Ravens. I don't think they were playing themselves. So which resulted in a 3-0. If Guerrillas were just top of the game, Acing was frying, obviously Spart was different with that
Volk, yeah.
with that Volk, yeah. So
My man's godlike with that thing. Oh, yeah, he's doing some different shit on the map with that. He had some highlight clips in that series.
Crazy. So yeah, Ravens didn't have a good showing. I mean, yeah, they 3-0 Legion, 3-1 Legion, sorry. But apart from that, I really didn't see them doing that well this weekend.
Yeah. So moving on to our top 6 teams. The first match was the winners final, FaZe and Breach. Breach going into the series must have felt great. I mean, making winners final up against FaZe, probably pumped to get it going. And after it's all said and done, they can't even respond with a map. Every time they come up against these top teams, it just doesn't seem to work out for them. They seem to be much better than almost all the teams below the top 3. So OpTic, FaZe, London, at least going into this event. And anyone outside of that, they just seem to have a mental block. I think it has to be a mental block because they're getting blown out. And some of these teams they beat have closer series with them.
I know, yeah. I mean, FaZe were just looking different, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean they were absolutely. I mean they were shooting bodies. Arcides was talking shit. I mean, there was a lot. I mean they were just on fire, to be fair. But I think for Breach, I mean there's no excuse not to get another. Like, I feel like you have to get a map.
Even the control, I think they should have won.
That's the one they threw away. They were winning offense and everything, and then didn't FaZe win back-to-back offenses or something? Or no,
exactly,
they won.
yeah.
Or else they won the last offense and got a defense or something. They clutched up a crazy offense anyway that Breach shouldn't have lost. I remember that.
Yeah, Breach managed to get the first. I think they were attacking first, and they managed to get the round, and then it was just obviously back and forth defense attack, and then FaZe were down 2-1. And then obviously they won the last 2.
Then we witnessed the breakdown.
Yeah,
we witnessed the breakdown.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think that's all we can say for this series at the moment. We'll go on to the losers side. OpTic Mutineers. This is where OpTic bowed out of the tournament, top 6. Very shocking for everyone. OpTic Mutineers looked very good. Again, this is kind of a topic for Mutineers throughout the whole tournament. I think everyone's talking about is the amount of Gavutus they got to play.
Yep.
I mean, they have 3 main ARs in the team and a player who also likes to run an AR. I mean, they were running 4 ARs on Gavutu. I just think, I mean, fair play. I mean, they beat OpTic 3-1. They were the better team at the end of the day. They got that Fugazi spawn on Gavutu as well, if you remember map 4. Do you remember?
That was crazy.
Yeah, Scump did the whole thing where he lay down on the outer ring. Like, made a fucking fantastic play with his teammates. They got control of the hill, and then I think it was Shotzi who called out the spawn. Like, Shotzi spawned up, and he's like, they have to be coming from our front side. And lo and behold, they got a Vanguard spawn, and they were behind them. So, now, again, they had to win the gunfights. Mutineers had to win the gunfights, but OpTic got Vanguarded, for sure.
Yeah, there's no way that should happen in any Call of Duty. I mean, when I watched it live, I was like, I was like, no way, OpTic should have won that. They were on pace to win that, and then, Vanguard doing Vanguard things.
Yeah, I do
puts them in a bad position.
Yeah, I do think they got screwed over there, but at the end of the day, Mutineers showed up and were the better team. So if you're
Yeah.
like, I'm an OpTic fan. Harry, you on? Oh, you're a London fan. Anyway, I'm an
Yeah.
I'm an OpTic fan, and I mean it's an excuse, sure, but like at the end of the day, we lost and we deserve to lose. So OpTic just have to go back to the drawing board. I think they just need to work more a little more together as a cohesive unit, not get too confident in these series, play more maps that they are. I feel like they were playing some maps that they thought they were better on because they've been expanding their map pool, but not maps that they're fantastic on. So I think they might just need to kind of focus on every series one at a time, besides jumping too far ahead to that like grand final best of 9. But again, I don't think this is the end of the OpTic team. I think they're still going to be top 2 the entire
100%.
year. So
I think it was just a miss weekend.
yeah, and
just a slow performance, but I think they'll go back to the drawing board. Like I said, they've got a load of VODs to watch. They'll be
100%.
fine. They'll be straight back to it this week.
Another thing with this
Oh,
OpTic
yes.
team, I feel like that's different to FaZe. I'm not sure if I've heard anyone else point this out, but like FaZe, they've got to 2 grand finals, but they haven't won. They haven't won shit. I mean, and not to they haven't won shit. Whereas OpTic won a grand final. They won a tournament, and then they came top 6. I just think that's how these two teams are. I feel like FaZe are going to be more consistent, but might not have that extra bit of like oomph to win.
Yeah.
Whereas OpTic can come out and win, and then kind of come out and just not win. Or come close to, which is maybe it's definitely not a recipe for success as much as the FaZe team is at the moment. But I just think that's how these two teams are. They're both.
I think
they're
I
both-
won't lie. I think every single final you're going to see this year is going to have either FaZe or OpTic in it.
Yeah,
I think that's going to happen.
yeah.
Either FaZe, win it or take second, or they're not in it and then OpTic's in it, win it or take second. I think that'll
happen
how it's gonna
unless
go.
there's like a Fugaze bracket, like there's a weird bracket where they like match up early on or something, and then they get like in. I don't know. I think it's like that's like the most likely thing. One of them will be in each grand final for sure.
Yeah, no. Apart from champs, that's apart from champs. I think champs is going to be. It's gonna be different. I can't predict what's gonna happen at champs, but I think
That's
for the
fair. I
majors,
mean, that's a
I
while
think
away.
That's gonna happen. Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, going into Guerrillas and Surge. God, this was. I mean, Guerrillas fair fucking play, like doing their thing, clutching up. But Surge, how do you go up 5-3 on Desert Siege and lose? How do you let this happen to you? I mean, just. Oh God, you wouldn't see it in rank play. I mean,
Guerrillas are feeling themselves, weren't they?
They were making incredible plays. In fairness, I mean, I just think Surge just had to. They had 3 rounds to just group up, hit something, and play trades.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to tip your hats off to Guerrillas, but you have to look at the Surge team and be like, what was their strategy? I mean, it was just. I remember watching the map, but we don't have it pulled up now, but the actual like last 3 rounds. But it was just, I was very confused. I'm not the best Call of Duty player in the world, but I was a bit confused. I don't know
You would have thought at that level of Call of Duty that can't happen, but it does.
It does,
so-
and they have all the extra
sometimes-
pressure.
Exactly, COD timing. It does happen. It is a thing, but it's still not. You still don't like to see it happen. They should have closed it out.
Yeah, and this is another switch moment for Guerrillas. I mean, they probably
Exactly.
felt unfucking stoppable at this point. Like, we're destined to win this shit. We have like, they probably looked at their like next match nears. We can easily beat these guys. Then we have Breach. We can easily beat these guys, and then just do. I mean, even just getting that far. I mean, I think this just. They just hit different levels after this.
Yeah, they did. Even though they went game 5 on every single game after this, I think every single game 5 just gave them more momentum and more like, I don't know, more like hype and excitement on moving on to the next series.
100%, yeah. And then as we go on to Mutineers, it's another thing. It goes back and forth. You could see either team winning, both teams showing up, doing their thing. But
Yeah.
again, Guerrillas, Game 5 Ice, S&D. I mean, they end up going on a 10 S&D win streak, which is still ongoing, going into the rest of the year. I mean, that streak is still going. But just that tournament itself, they got 10. I mean, they beat the CDL record. I think the CWL record's 12, so we're going to have to go for that. I think that was back in
Right, okay.
Black Ops.
Yeah.
No, it was back in. I'm not sure. It was a few years ago back in the CWL, but I mean, they were just unstoppable in Game 5. And I think we can go on to the next one, Harry. The same with Breach Guerrillas. I mean, again, back and forth. Each team could come out on top. And again,
Yeah.
Guerrillas, it was just meant to be.
It was just clutch moments on it. They were just winning stuff that they had to win to get to where they were.
And the teamwork was just phenomenal. It was just, I was very impressed with their teamwork.
I was shocked. I was shocked from the start. I could see them beating Mutineers, but Breach, I really didn't see them winning that, and they did. They shocked me. So.
And I think it was just like, I don't even know what the word is for it. They just, I think it was just they went in with no pressure. They were like, let's just fucking go. Let's just do our best. I mean, they were like, let's win these games for gunless. And Spart obviously had a chip on his shoulder from, I'm not sure if you guys remember in the Modern Warfare series, he came in and got embarrassed. I mean, he was on an awful, it was LAG at the time as well. He was on a bad team. He was forced to run a sub. And he was, I remember it so well. Everyone just said he was shit. He was dropped off the team. And now he came back and he won $50,000 for himself. He won a tournament and he's clutching up in S&D, bringing a team that was barely even top 6 to winning, you know.
Exactly.
Which we can go into the grand final. It was 5-2. What are your initial thoughts on this grand final game?
I think Guerrillas were just too excited. They were just playing the game. Look, I thought FaZe was going to make it, a few more. I thought they were going to get a few more maps, but Guerrillas were just looking too good. I think they did well as well because FaZe won map 1. That might have, put a bit of like a cap on there.
Everyone thought it was over. I don't know if you were watching some of the watch parties. Fucking Enable said he was going to suck his own meat live on the stream. Fucking Slacked. Slacked was going to shave his beard. I don't know if he actually ended up doing it or not, but like everyone, I mean, if you just, I mean, I'd say less than 1% would have picked Guerrillas.
Yeah. I mean, the CDL tweeted the pick'ems. I think it was like 0.8%. Oh, no, it's 8 people.
Yeah,
that was it.
I saw that.
8 people out of every single pick'ems.
I'm surprised it was even 8.
I know, same.
I'm like, who's that? Was that Spart on 8 accounts?
I don't know why you'd ever pick Guerrillas to win the whole tournament, but hey,
yeah, I mean, it was just crazy. It was the best losers run in history. I don't know if I'll ever 100%. See one again. It was the best, it was the best performance from a sub player, like someone coming into a team as a substitute we'll ever see, I think, or for a long time. And he got MVP. Yeah. Imagine coming in as a substitute from Challengers, not even having been in the Pro League for a couple of years, and getting MVP. I'm kind of sad for Asim. I think he's the overall MVP this year for them. He's been fucking disgusting. But I mean, you had to give to Spart. You just had to. I
think Asim should have got it. I won't lie. He made some plays that turned games around. I know Spart was frying it sometimes, and yeah, he had that vault going crazy. But I think overall he was more of the
true. And I do feel like they wouldn't got winners bracket in the first place if it wasn't for Asim.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Is it Asim or Asim? Everyone says Asim. Why do I say Asim? Asim. It's a seam, right? Yeah, it's a seam. They all say a seam. Okay.
I've always said Asim. I don't know why.
I think it's just the way we say it. But anyways, yeah. So that was crazy for Guerrillas 5-2. I mean, FaZe again yet to get more than 3 maps in a best of 9 in the grand finals.
Mm-hmm.
They got there. They looked fantastic until this match. But I mean, Guerrillas were just unfucking stoppable. I mean,
they played excellent. I don't think they no faults them really.
And a lot of people have been saying like, oh, it's just luck. It's a coin flip. I mean, they won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 series back to back to back to back. They won 10 series back to back to back to back. They beat out of those 6 games, they beat FaZe, they beat Ravens, they beat Breach. I mean, that's
some of the best teams in the game.
They beat 3 of the top 4 to spare OpTic.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think they would have beat OpTic.
I think they would have as well. 100%.
I think they would have. I don't even think
in their current form and OpTic's current form, I think they would have beaten them.
Yeah, so I mean, it was a crazy tournament overall. I mean, I'm sure all you guys watched at home. Well, anyone from Europe, I'm sure you watched it next day because it was like 4 a.m.
I definitely watched it next day.
So I think some of
no way I could have stayed up that long.
Some of the American guys watched it next day. I think it went on late there as well. Everyone was saying. So maybe that's something to revisit for the next tournament. But we will. I think we can conclude that there, and we can move on to our tier list. Any closing thoughts, Harry, on the bracket on Minnesota
No,
Major 2 overall?
just GG's to Guerrillas. I think the last team that everyone expected to win the whole thing. So
Yeah.
GG's to them.
I mean, 100%. Well, except for Paris. I mean,
Well, yeah, okay, fair enough.
even with a sub, I would have picked LAG over Paris. Not to throw too much shade, but and we're just getting up.
Yeah, moving on to the to the tier list.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get it up real quick. In a way
And
that
there's a lot of changes. There's a lot of changes to be made.
yeah,
When it comes up, we'll
yeah.
have a look.
We'll have a look now. 2 seconds. Trying to get it in this beautiful presentation mode, which I've just managed to do. Fantastic. Here we are. You guys should be able to see that now. That should be all good to go. Tier list time. Beautiful stuff. So, looking at it originally, Harry, looking at it, this is exactly how we had it going into the Rocker tournament. We had Thieves as the worst team. We had OpTic as the best. And in fairness to us, we had Guerrillas as what? 6th? I think a lot of people would have had them lower than that. So
yeah, we did all right.
We put some respect on their name. I mean, looking at
we did.
I mean, who else did we have up here? We had New York, probably a little cap on New York. That might have been me who orchestrated that.
I think maybe Surge is down there. That needs to be way up there. Surge is in the C. That needs to be.
Yeah, that needs
replacing Sublime is in my opinion.
100%. So let's see. The first team I think we should change is
Start at the bottom and
Paris back down
go.
to D.
Yeah, 100%. Paris down to D, behind LA in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think LA are C now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they won a series and they brought up
probably
map 5.
replacing Ultra.
Yeah, Ultra are definitely worse. They got top 12. Rocker
behind LA.
Yeah, behind LA for sure.
I'd say
New York instead of Seattle. Switch those guys out.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Well, we're getting through this way quicker than last week.
Yeah. Well, Surge is looking like different, a lot different to Major 1 anyway. So
yeah, but they are definitely. But Mutineers are still better than them, in my opinion. I mean, they got further. They got top 4.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But again, we could have Mutineers here at A someday, or we could have them in D another day. So, but for now, we have to have them in. I'd say B, like a good, decent B team. Probably, and LA Guerrillas should be A. I think London needs to go back down to B. Would you agree with that?
I was gonna say swap London with Guerrillas, yeah, because we can't put Guerrillas in front of FaZe and OpTic in my opinion. They're still they won the tournament, but they need some more.
Yeah.
I know it sounds weird saying they need more consistency, even though they just won like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 maps in a row.
So but we need to see it over like a longer, like a bigger sample size.
Yeah, we need to see it
bigger
over,
sample size.
Yeah, exactly. Over qualifiers, over more majors, stuff like that, and they need to start placing, top 3, top 4.
Yeah, I agree. I would still. Okay, let's get OpTic off the S tier like straight away, because I don't think. Well, let's get this out of the way. I don't think there should be any team in S tier. Do you agree?
It's a tricky one. It is really a tricky one because there's no team that's really performing, crazy.
There's no like dominant. There's no dominant team like OpTic were for Major 1. They were a clear S.
No, there really isn't. Yeah, there really isn't. So I think you have to leave S free and then just play it out in A. So in my opinion, FaZe is in front of OpTic at the minute.
FaZe are there, bro.
Yeah, making it twice to grand finals.
I just put FaZe out to D for reference. Sorry, I don't think.
No, it's a bit delayed.
Yeah, no, FaZe are. They made 2 grand finals back to back. On current form, you have to put them as the best team. Now, Guerrillas did beat them 5-2, but they just don't have like we said, we don't have the sample size, we don't have the consistency. I think it's fair to put 4 teams in A from going in descending order: FaZe, OpTic, Guerrillas, and Boston. Do you agree with that one, Harry?
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. I think how it is fine. I would put Guerrillas in front of Boston. That's fine. London in front of Mutineers. Yeah. And
then Seattle.
That was good.
New York, better. Yeah, I mean, fuck, that was actually pretty easy. I thought this was gonna be hard. This is quicker than last week's one.
maybe subliners and rocker in the same position. Yeah, looks fine to me.
Are Ultra D tier though? It feels weird having Ultra and New York on the same. But again, I mean, New York also got 12th, so maybe they should all be C.
I'd have a feeling Ultra maybe in D, but in front of Paris.
Yeah, I don't like having. Yeah, let's fucking do that, man. I mean, they're fucking disgraceful right now. They're 2-20 in hardpoint.
Yeah, exactly. We can't put them on the same level as LA.
Yeah.
We
Hey,
can't.
look, J Fields W list. We got so many strays in last week's
We
tier
did.
list.
There's a lot of lectures in the last.
Yeah, I gotta print screen this. We gotta put that up on Twitter in a while. All right. Actually, wait, Harry, smile. I'm gonna print screen it and put it on Twitter. Are you smiling?
Yeah.
All right, wait, smile as well. Okay, beautiful. I think I got that. That's cringe. Who cares? Okay. All right. So, maybe thieves or maybe thieves over rocker. Field says.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, no, I would do actually. Yeah, thieves over rocker. Let me just have a look.
So yeah, this is why you should be in the stream chat, guys. You can get the list changed. I was taking out a screenshot. No, I won't.
Hang on.
Welcome to the stream, Muzzy. Welcome. Yeah, I mean, I think a good way to judge it, because they're just both been so horrible, is if they played each other tomorrow, who would win? And I would say thieves.
Yeah, and I'd actually put thieves in front of New York as well.
No way. That's cap.
They beat him. They beat him. They beat him 3-2.
That's cap though. Fuck no, man. I know they beat him 3-2, but it was the most fugazi 3-2 of all time. It was.
They still beat them though.
No, I don't give a fuck. They did beat them. It was fucking Matrix, man. That shit didn't happen. That shit was fucking. I don't know, man. Krim got fucking a call from McDonald's and put his controller down, bro. I don't know.
Fair enough. Okay, we'll leave it how it is. I like how it is now. So
yeah, I can't put thieves in front of you. I just can't do it.
Okay. We'll leave it how it is.
Trueif says London and D. I think that's a little harsh. I mean,
yeah,
I do think there's a world you could put Mutineers ahead of them, but over the whole season, I would say London are definitely better than Mutineers.
Yeah,
as top 5. Right, so that is our tier list stream, and everyone on YouTube, that is our tier list. Anyone listening and actually watching, I'll just list it out from the first team all the way down to the worst. So we have FaZe, OpTic, Guerrillas, Boston, London, Mutineers, Surge, New York, LA Thieves, Minnesota Rocker, Ultra, and then all the way at the bottom, take a wild guess who we have down there. So that's our tier list, and the next part we will talk about is, tell them what we're talking about next, Harry.
Yeah, so the Volk meta.
Yeah,
do we think
new god gun?
Do we think the Volk is good enough to have a 3-gun meta, or do we think it's just going to carry on with the standard 2-gun meta with the MP40 and the automation? What are your thoughts on it, Deck?
I love the idea of having another gun. And real quick, just before I go on to say that, Trueif says he put Seattle before Florida. I do think there's a world you could do that, but it's kind of like flick a coin. So it's like, you could definitely have a world where Seattle are ahead of Florida, but I just think it's like day to day, you know? It's one of those ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, those tier lists are always tough to do, but you have to just come up with something and go with it. So,
it's all opinion in the day, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, going on to the Volk, I love this. I love having multiple guns. One of my favorite Call of Duties of all time is Black Ops 3, and the reason was there were so many guns. You had the VMP, you had the Kuda, you had the M8, you had the Man of War, you had the Shiva for a while, you had the Vesper. I mean, I could go on. You what's the HVK? God, I actually remember this so much better than I thought I would. All those guns, and it was so much fun, you know. And I mean, the 2-gun meta is okay, but I think just putting a 3rd gun in is great for viewers who are watching, because the Volk's actually a really popular gun in public matches ever since the game started. I don't know if you're aware of that. A lot of people use the Volk.
I wasn't aware. No, I don't play many.
Yeah,
pubs.
I've seen a lot of people use it in public matches. I'm not sure if that's just games I've been in, but I've seen a shit ton of people use it. So I think it's good just in general for the game. It's more entertaining. And again, real quick, you linked me this tweet, Harry. This one from Arcites. He says, I think you guys can see this on screen. The Volk is the most absurd gun. It does it all. It has strafe. It has fleet headshot multiplier. and he thinks it's a top 2 gun ever. I mean, that's cap as fuck. I mean, I'm
That is
sorry.
cap.
That's
That is
just
cap.
like, I think he's a little bitter because BZ was absolutely dog awful. He was dog water with the Volk. He dropped like 0.7s, not to be an asshole, but he dropped straight 0.7s with the Volk. I think he was just capping there. I think it's a great gun, but I think there'll only be 1 used per team, if maybe 2.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite game for comp was Infinite Warfare, simply because you had the MV4, you had the K-Bar, and you had the ERAD.
Yeah, that was a great meta.
Exactly. I think 3-gun is probably the best.
And there's so much strategy to that because
there is.
And it's figure out like which maps can we use it on, like pull it out mid-series. Like there's some people who use the MP40 and Automaton, like they'll switch it out during the map, but now there'll be people who switch out all 3 guns, and it'll be better for different hills, and it just adds a good variable, which I think. I mean, and the main reason I think it's good is it's just better for viewership to see another gun. It's just more entertaining just to not see the exact same things all the time.
I mean, true saying in the chat, it's long range. Yeah, long range is too bouncy. So it's like an in between of an automation and an MP4.
Exactly, yeah. It's
which
that
is
in
what it
between.
needs.
I mean, and then Johnny, it's mixed opinions. Johnny says it should be G8, which I'm not sure. I mean, I think over here, yeah. So we have some stats. We have some stats on the actual gun itself compared to the automation and the MP40. So it's a little cut off on the screen, but the left side stats is the Volk, the middle is the automation, and the right side is the MP40. So we have Volk, auto, MP40. So, I mean, if you look at the ADS time is really the main advantage of the Volk. I feel like it's quicker than both of them. ADS time.
Yeah.
Its fire rate is right in the middle, which is what you'd want for like the in between gun.
Yeah.
Which is nice, and I think it's the range that's kind of drops off a little bit. It's about the same as the MP40. So when you're taking those longer gunfights, like you say at Harry, it can be a little tougher.
Yeah. Just moving on to I think the next image, it shows a really good graph about the time to kill.
Oh,
and
okay.
it's just in between. Yeah. So you see the MP40. So at range, you can just see it spikes. It's terrible, and then the Volk is like in between.
Yeah, it's literally.
So look, it's really good at close range, but it's also half decent at medium.
It's literally
medium
a
range.
Flex gun.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm sure.
So I think it's ideal for a 3rd-gun meta.
Yeah. Sorry to cut you off, Jim. I'm not sure if you can hear that. My wife's just eating some chocolate. I'm gonna have to get some off her soon. I'm hungry for some chocolate. You can hear that wrapper. But yeah, so that's the. I mean, I think it's fantastic. I hope it doesn't get G8. I think some of the right people will be fighting for it. Slasher won't want it gone. I don't think any teams with good flexes won't want it gone. Like New York will probably want it in. Who else has a good flex? Gizmo might start using it for London.
I like to see Illy on it.
Oh, Illy, yeah, Illy would probably be diffy with this gun.
Yeah, I'd like to see him on it. Maybe next qualifiers we'll see him using it a bit.
For sure. Yeah. So
if it's not G8, I mean as well. I saw a video of Rambo saying it shouldn't be G8 because it's not a crazy OP gun. So, going off that, maybe it won't be G8. Well, it's just a case of just waiting and seeing what the pros think.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's just going to be. I think it won't get G8, but there's just no knowing. There's just literally no knowing. I think we just have to wait and see. And there's a whole month of scrims to come up, so like they'll all be scrimming.
They'll figure it out quite fast, and I'm sure they'll let the community know.
100%. Yeah, I'm just trying to find. Real quick, something with challengers, but I actually can't find it. But anyways, yeah. So I mean, I think that's enough for the segment. On screen, we have obviously the main man himself, the best Volk player in the game, unstoppably, is Sparty. We have his loadout right here. It's kind of cut off a little bit on the right hand side, but if you just go on LAG's Twitter, it's up there, and I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of people in rank play and in the 8s on our streams using this. So. It's definitely interesting. I'm definitely
gonna try it out.
Yeah, I've already used it once.
I'm definitely gonna try it out on the 8s.
Yeah, you'll have to whip it on for sure. I've used it like once or twice, but I haven't tried it out properly, so I'll have to give it a go. So yeah, that's the Volk. And real quick, I just want to talk about challengers. Let me just go back to our screen so we can see ourselves again. Beautiful stuff. The challengers. So the 4 teams that qualified, both of Toronto Ultras teams qualified. Their EU and NA team. and their NA team has 2 European players on it. Then the team with Silly and Vickle and that I think they qualified. And then who's the 4th team I'm missing out on?
I didn't stay too up to date with the challenges. All I know is that out of the 12 people, 10 EU.
No, out of the 16 it was. Oh no, it's 12. No, it's 16. Out of the 16, I think it was 10.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. There was a lot. There was a lot of EU players, which I'm happy to see.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting coming up. I really like to see a few of these AM teams destroy these pro teams. But going back to like the CWL days when there was pool play and everything like that, almost 90% of the time these amateur teams got absolutely blown out. But I don't think that's the way it is anymore. I think the challenger scene is so much better than it used to be a few years ago.
Yeah, I think it's getting more respected as well. I think you'll see in the next couple of years that a lot more funding will be put into the Challengers League.
And I think compared to like a few years back with the CWL, like there was less of a future in Call of Duty. There was still a future, but less of. But now with franchising, like people see there's a way more of a future in it. So I think a lot more people are going all in at it. So that just naturally brings up the kind of quality of the amateur scene. So.
Well, it's so desirable, isn't it? That being in the COD League. I mean,
of course,
they don't hide the salaries. They don't hide, what they're earning. So people know and people aim for it. So
it'll be interesting for sure. So I think that's most of the podcast covered. I mean, we're gonna still bring these every week, Harry, aren't we? Every Wednesday at 6 o'clock. That's the plan.
Yeah.
So that's the plan. So I mean, there'll be lots to talk about. There might not be games going on, but we can talk about all the different roster builds going on. There'll be upcoming talks about the whole thing going into Major 3, whether or not the Volk's in or out. There'll be, I'm sure, lots of drama going down on the Twitter timeline. So I'm sure we won't be short of stuff to talk about. And any last thoughts, anything like that, Harry? Anything else?
I just hope there's a load of drama. In the next couple of weeks.
Hopefully, so, I mean, we can cross our fingers on that one. So yeah, I'm just going to close out the show now, guys. The second episode of Scrap Time is in the books. Thanks to everyone who's watching on YouTube. If you're new, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys for the support. We're going to have this up on other audio platforms like Spotify and stuff in the coming week. And make sure to go follow at Scrap Time Show on Twitter. Thank you guys again for watching. Appreciate everyone who's in here in the live stream as well. And we will see you guys in the next one.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face. Tell me that you love me, even if it's fake.